You're driving down the interstate. You might think that as long as you're following the speed limit, your movements are your own business. But when you pull off the highway and into the parking lot of a local hardware store or grocery chain, your car's location is quietly captured, logged, and fed directly into a database accessible by federal immigration authorities. Take a town like Glenwood Springs, Colorado. The residents here overwhelmingly support immigrant rights, to the point where they passed a local law explicitly banning their police from sharing data with ICE. Yet internal usage logs show that federal agents access the local police department's camera network almost every single day. This creates a friction between local policy and technical reality. Despite the explicit ban on cooperation, the town's data flows into a networked system that city ordinances simply weren't designed to contain. This interface for the Flock safety camera system allows local police to quickly scan sites and track suspects. With this software, an officer can search a specific plate and rewind time, plotting exactly where and when a car moved through their streets. Glenwood Springs happens to sit right along Interstate 70. Because there's every chance a local suspect from just about anywhere fled by Interstate 70 in an attempt to get far away fast, the town's police department opted into sharing their camera data with law enforcement agencies nationwide. By opening their system to outside police departments, Glenwood accidentally let the federal government inside. Agencies in other states that do openly work with federal authorities simply log into the Flock system, run a search, and hand that Colorado data straight over to ICE. A town can pass all the protective legislation at once. The moment they press a button to share data with one outside precinct, they expose every driver in their borders to federal tracking. Even when a town realizes what's happening and completely unplugs its police department from that national network, the tracking doesn't stop. Private businesses, including chains like Lowe's Home Improvement, buy and mount the exact same Flock safety cameras at the entrances to their own parking lots. Unlike a city council, a hardware store doesn't hold public hearings, they don't publish search logs, and they answer solely to corporate shareholders, leaving the public completely in the dark about who is buying or accessing that footage. This creates an unregulated shadow network. Federal authorities can bypass uncooperative local laws entirely by tapping into the private sector, surveilling everyday citizens without ever filing a public request on a proprietary app called Mobile Fortify to perform real-time facial recognition on the street. During a raid in Woodburn, Oregon, an officer detained a woman and scanned her face. The app returned a match for someone named Maria. When the woman didn't respond to that name, he scanned her again, and the system spit out an entirely different person. The officer admitted in a deposition that the app misidentified her twice. Yet he still used that clearly broken software as his legal probable cause to justify arresting her. This street-level tool draws its power from a massive biometric database. Every time a traveler looks into a camera at an international airport security gate, that image is retained for decades, feeding directly into the app's search algorithm. While these algorithms struggle in chaotic street settings, the resulting high error rate provides a useful pretext. For an agent, a misidentification offers the technical justification needed to detain someone and investigate their residency status later. These tools are now migrating away from targeted immigration enforcement and into spaces like domestic political demonstrations. At mass demonstrations, agents deploy vehicle-mounted stingrays. These machines trick every cell phone in the immediate area into dropping their carrier's tower and connecting to the stingray instead, allowing agents to log the unique identification number of every person in the crowd. After a legal observer monitored federal vehicles at a protest, an agent scanned her face without consent. 3 days later, the TSA mysteriously revoked her pre-check status, a trusted traveler program she had held for 14 years. Systems authorized strictly to manage border security are actively being repurposed. The technology has evolved into a domestic net that catalogs the whereabouts of dissidents and ordinary citizens alike. Between hardware store parking lots, faulty facial recognition apps, and spoofed cell towers at protests, a comprehensive tracking grid is fully operational. The Fourth Amendment requires the government to obtain a warrant to search a specific person for a specific crime. This digital infrastructure flips that completely. It searches everyone, all the time, indefinitely storing the data so agents can work backwards whenever they choose. It is easy to ignore surveillance when it targets marginalized groups, but the hardware and the data sharing agreements are already installed, cementing a permanent infrastructure for mass monitoring. If a private business can legally hand over your daily movements to a federal agency, overriding the explicit votes of your own community, who actually owns your privacy? Let us know what you think in the comments, and subscribe for more.